So, good morning everyone. My topic is all about the rise of e-commerce. So, this morning we will be tackle about e-commerce. But before we all juggling about this segment, I just want to know what is e-commerce. So, what comes in your mind when we talk about e-commerce? Okay, if you're thinking about e-commerce is like Shopee, Lazada, and that's correct. So, e-commerce is a short-term word of electronic commerce. So it's stated here that electronic commerce or e-commerce is a buying and selling of goods and services over the internet. So e-commerce can be conducted on the computers, tablets, smartphones, and other smart devices. Nearly every imaginable product and services is now available through e-commerce, and it has upended how many companies and entire industries do a business. So, ang electronic commerce, it refers or it is acts that refers to buying or selling of goods and services through internet or through online. So, instead of going to physical stores, so as mga customer, dapat as customer through the use of electronic commerce or e-commerce, instead of going to physical stores, maggamit na lang ta o websites or applications to shop to the use of our different devices like smartphones, mga laptops, or others smart devices. So that's what we call e-commerce. For those who don't know about e-commerce, e-commerce is buying and selling of goods through what? Internet or what we call through online. So one example na kanang mga Shopee is the rise of e-commerce karon is mga Shopee na is well known kaayo, Lazada, what else? Foodpanda, mga if dito sa una is Amazon pa man to ang in boom about e-commerce. So karon like for example, if you are confusing what is e-commerce, so I give some examples about e-commerce. Like if you are buying pizza, like pizza about sa online like Foodpanda, that's one of the iconic examples of e-commerce. Another example, if you are buying shoes, mga t-shirts sa Shopee, that's a form of e-commerce platform. So that's nasabtan ba ninyo nga through the use of e-commerce, through online dyan na siya. You are buying or selling through online, through website, through application, through the use of internet. So ini kanang pangutana about e-commerce. So if wala na, then let's move on to the history of e-commerce. Since our topic is all about the rise of e-commerce, so of course we need to know what is the history of e-commerce. So unsa ganitong a short-term word of e-commerce, it's electronic commerce. Okay, that's it. That's good. Now I read the history of e-commerce. So most of us have shopped online for something at some point, which means we have taken part in e-commerce. So it goes without saying that e-commerce is everywhere. Does it? Got it? But every few people may know that e-commerce has an history that predates the internet. Asa ganina predates? Sa internet. That's good. So e-commerce actually goes back to 1960s when companies used an electronic system called electronic data interchange to facilitate the transfer of document. Unsa gani tawag atong ilahang when did the e-commerce began? Okay, that's it. 1960s through the use of what? Electronic data interchange, nga makatransfer sila document electronically man siya. So it wasn't until 1994 that the very first transactions took place. This involved the sales of CD between friends through an online retail website called NetMarket. And the industry has evolved rapidly since then, when companies like Alibaba and Amazon becoming household names around the world. the introductions of free shippings, which at least one of the surface reduces cost for our consumers, has also shaped increased the popularity of the e-commerce industry. So, for those who don't know, if you are talking about Alibaba and Amazon's, before the rise of e-commerce, before na well-known ang mga Shopee, Lazada, karon ang sa una, nag-start diba ang pag 1960s. So, ang well-known kayo nga company sa una through the use of e-commerce, pero wala pa kayo nag-boom. They are in level pa, di pa kayo high level, di pa kayo, napa sila sa positions where sikat ang Alibaba and Amazon's. One of kana sila mga companies where kanang well known during those times. So Amazon journey from kanang selling books online to becoming the world biggest e-commerce. So one example like sa una kanang one of the iconic example sa una is ang Amazon, where if you are finding someone, like for example, if you are kanang finding someone, if you are kanang like if you are going to physical stores like bookstore or national bookstores, or even though mga bookstores nya wala sa bookstores ang imong ipangita, so sa una they can visit Amazon, because Amazon has a big company which makaproduce na siya og mga daghan nga complete nga items whatever you want. So muna siya. So e-commerce began in 1960s when the companies use what we call ganito, electronic data interchange. So or gitawag siya ADE. So to transfer documents electronically. So the first online transactions happened when 1994, that's correct, with the sales of CD between True Net Market. Since then, a platform like Amazon and Alibaba have become giant. So sa una, it's ang Amazon as what I have said ganiha nga ang kanang company is mo na sila ang well known, sila ang dako na company around the world. So for those who don't know that Amazon is from now on is naagihapon ng Amazons, pero mostly sa tuwa wala ka nagamit ng Amazons, di ba? Kinsa man ani awa ka try og online shopping kaya tumpak joke kay kinsa may waka try na to shop online. Okay, I think kitang tanan man tali naka-try o shop online. So, for those who don't know about the history of Amazon, Amazon is kana big company na siya, which is nag-boom na sa una, pero karon naka-rise na sila, which is dako na kayo na siya company around the world, internationally, na sila international sales. And then Amazon, unlike sa Shopee, which is ang Shopee diba kay 5 to 10 days na siya ma-arrive sa makuha ninyo inyong item sa inyong pag-purchase. Ikan sa inyong pag-purchase 5 to 10 days before makuha ninyo inyong item. But sa Amazon is naa siya kanang gitawag siya o gameplay, or I don't know, basta kanang siya kanang gitawag og kanang premium, which is makaingon kanila og kanang within ana nga oras o within ana nga day nga nag-purchase ka sa isa ka product, ana pod nga adlaw maka ansa na tawag na ma-produce niya ang iyang item. But dili na sila mo produce og item if kanang imong paliton isa ra ka sapatos nga because ang Amazon murag they are thinking dapat sila makaginansya bitaw, even though ang Amazon is worldwide. Lain-lain ang website na undering companies here in Bohol na noon, in the Philippines, our countries, or through website is manjud siya kanang accessible around the world. So mo na siya ang Amazon, pero within a day, pero naa siya ay extra cost, magbayad ka og kanang within a day gusto niyo maabot. So mo po na naka-advantage sa Amazon, pero na siya extra cost ana siya og kanang mahal. So, and then Pero ang Amazon dili po siya unlike sa Shopee is 10 to 5 to 10 days, diba? Sa Amazon is 2 to 3 days na siya maabot. So if you're thinking Amazon, so nako pa na about the history. When did the history becomes? When did the when did the e-commerce began? 1960s. So when did the first transaction happen? Okay, pag 1994. That's good. Now let's move on. Nasabtan na ba ang history? About history sa e-commerce. So for those who now let's move on to another segment, which is the advantages and disadvantages of e-commerce. So now let's tackle up first about the advantages though. So there are 5 advantages on e-commerce. The first one is convenience. Second one is the increased selections. Third one is the potential lower startup access. International sales, an opportunity to collect valuable data. Muna siya ang 5 ka advantages sa kanang e-commerce. So first, we're talking about the convenience. So for those who don't know, ang e-commerce is a convenience. Why? Because e-commerce can happen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 24/7. That you can even order late at night in your sa may imong gusto, in your pajamas or whatever you want. So you can shop whatever what time, kadlawon ba na, buntag ba na, mudto ba na. So ang e-commerce is maka-access ka anytime, di ba? It's convenience. Di ba? Ngayon kanang 24 kanang store bitaw, physical store 24/7 24 hours. 24/7 man sila. So sila. Pero ang naka-disadvantage sila ng 24/7 nga physical stores is mudong ta dito. We are consuming of times. So kaning website through e-commerce, through the use of websites, mga applications, through the use of applications. Maka anytime we can access, di ba? Kung say gusto na to ma-consume, so kung say gusto na to mapalit, and then consumer can buy at their convenience. The business owner can make sales while they sleep. So even though if you are a business owner or a business kanang tag-iya sa companies, so even though ikaw matug ka diha, ikaw owner, and then na ang imong sales naagi hapon kay bisan pag matuga diha kay wala man kay gibuhat, automatic naman tong website nimo nga naay mag-purchase dito. So inig-open nimo anto automatic. Nana kay halin. Then naay nag-purchase sa imong product. Di ba? That's very convenient ang electronic commerce. The second one is the increased selections. Many stores offer a wide array of products online than they could ever carry in their brick and mortar counterparts, and many stores that solely exist online offer consumers exclusive inventory that unavailable elsewhere. So kanang increase selections, it talks about online stores often they are offer more products than the physical stores. So muna siya increase selections to make you understand ang kanang increase selections, ang online stores or electronic commerce, they are offer more products than the physical stores, di ba? Kay di ba if you are kanang nakatry naman talita og tanan og kanang online, di ba, in search na to sa to ang gusto na to paliton, there are different kinds of like for example pajamas you want, so naay mga lain-lain nga pajamas diri. Unlike sa physical stores, wala ka kayong makita, di ba? You are wasting of time to find those items that you want to. So muna siya mga naay naka-advantage to increase selections. So like for example, para atong giingon ni ma'am nga katong PowerPoint, ayon sa to katong gamit bitaw nitong PowerPoint sa tawag adto nga gi-search iya iyahang pag dili pag search ni ma'am, there are lain-laing klase nga kanang katong projector without knowing nga wa siya kita sa ani mga physical stores. So for the sure it's for so main point jud ani is ang through e-commerce, through online shop, mag-offer sila more products than the physical stores. So it's naka-advantage pala nato, di ba? If you are kanang experience anang situations. And then the third one is the potentially lower startup cost. So e-commerce companies may require a warehouse or a manufacturing site, but they usually don't need a physical storefront. Got it? The cost to operate digitally is often less expensive than needing to pay rent, insurance, building maintenance, and property taxes. So if you are kanang one example ani is katubi tong kanang mga CEO sa usa ka skincare, sila Mother Lu, sila Kagayako unsay nga nato ni gani Rosmar, si Rosmar. Ana, diba? They are kanang building manufacturers o kanang mga warehouse or manufacturing site where is manufacture nila ang ilahang mga products ato without the kana mga storefront like mga physical stores, mga small stores kay makaan mo gani siya maka less og expensive like magpay og rent o like if you are kanang magtukod ka og kanang physical stores o without the use of e-commerce physical stores imong itukod. So ang disadvantage na is daghan kag bayronon, daghan kag mga appliances nga imong gamiton, daghan kag kwarta nga mapagawas ana usa matukod imo na kanang stores nga imong gusto. Whereas through the use of potential lower startup cost sa isa ka e-commerce is makalis siya expensive, less expensive than needing to pay rent, mga insurances, mga building maintenance and property taxes kay kanang through website man to applications. So kinsa may magbayad imo adto, even though ang website raman imong bayaran, imong applications imong bayaran, do less siya og mga utilities, mga maintenance, di ba? Makalis ka na. So kanang makasave ta og money, makasave ta og kanang rent, og mga bayronon, mga utilities through the use of kanang e-commerce. So potentially lower startup cost. So nasabtan ba? And then the fourth one is the international sales. So as long as e-commerce stores can find a way to ship its product to its customer, it can sell to anyone in the world and isn't limited by physical geography. So if you are kanang experience through online shop, di ba? If you are kanang di ba maka-shop ta like unsay mga product atong gusto like nasa China, so through the use of website, through the use of e-commerce, ma-shop na diri sa Philippines kay gigamitan man international salesman, di ba? Through the use of website tanan maka-access internationally, worldwide, nationwide, maka-access through the use of e-commerce. So advantage para ninyo nga magtukod mo og kanang business like i-anin nyo into e-commerce kay not just sa inyohang barangay makahibaw or sa inyohang community ra, but around the Philippines, around the world. Like if you are planning to build a business, then gusto ninyo nga tanan maka-access, then use of e-commerce, di ba? Social media, shop, mga applications. If you are going to build a business, ano siya, international sales. So internationally maka palita, like unsay product sa Europe, then ma-purchase na to diri sa Pilipino. Unsay product diri sa Pilipino, ma-purchase into Europe internationally, di ba? That's one of the advantage of e-commerce. So the last one is the opportunity to collect valuable data. So willingly or unknowingly, consumers share a lot of information, their interests and shopping habits when they buy or even just browse online. Site owners can monetize this data in a number of ways, using it themselves and selling it to others. So naa siya kanang website nga makatrack siya browsing habit to suggest mga better options. Like for example, kanang mga Netflix tailors nga maka-recommend na sila based on what the viewer watch. So nasabtan ba about the opportunity to collect valuable data? So unsa ganitong 5 ka advantages of e-commerce? The first one is the convenience, increased selections, potentially lower startup cost, international sales, and the last one is the opportunity to collect valuable data. So if wala na may pangutani ani, then let's move on to the other slides, which is a disadvantages. So the first one is the limited customer service, the lack of instant gratifications, inability to touch products, and dependencies on technology. And the last one is the greater competitions. So now let's tackle about first the limited customer service. So if you shop online for a computer, you cannot simply ask an employee to demonstrate or kana bitaw illustrate bitaw unsay mga product nila a particular model features in a persons. So although some website let you chat online with a staff member, that is not a physical practice. Bitaw, even though if you are naka-experience ani even though ma-chat nimo ang kanang through Facebook, di ba? If kanang mag-an man sa Facebook, di ba? Unay mga online shop sa Facebook, di ba? Di ba kay through shop, di ba? Through website, di ba na sila shop, and then ma-chat nimo mo nangana. Mo na siya kanang, pero mostly dili ka kahibaw unsay mga features ato nga products. Unsay mga features ato nga product, unsay quality ato nga product. And then like for example, limited customer service, like they can't able to demonstrate unsa nga products imuha physically face to face nimo, dili sila maka they are lack of kanang personal face to face help because they are limited customer service, like dili sila maka explain, they can demonstrate nimo og even though maka-chat sila pero dili sila, they are lack of kanang physical practice in terms of exploding or kanang explaining about their products. So that's limited customer service. Whereas kung sa physical stores pa, di ba, maka-offer man sila nga, ma'am, this is kanang halinon ni siya ma'am, kani lamin ni siya quality ma'am, lamin ni siya og kanang mahalo ni siya ma'am, lamin ni brand, lamin ni siya then makita nimo nga sila mga customers naghatag sila service nato as sila mga kanang mga producers, kanang mga owners maghatag sila service nato demonstrate siya nato face to face. Through online website, ang naka-disadvantage anin, they are limited customer service. So nasabtan ba nga online shopping, there are lack of personal face to face help. So like for example, if you are buying laptop online, and then you can ask a staff member to show its features in kanang in real time. Dili bitaw ka maka ask for those who kanang buy about laptops, then wala ta kahibaw unsay mga kanang features adto, as long as they are explaining their kanang mga grabe ka kanang nice kaayo ilahang pag sales talks, but without sa mga laptop na mga features adto, unsay mga sulod adto, unsay mga nga dili nila ma-explain, di ba, unsay gusto nato. So muna siya ang disadvantage of limited e-commerce, which is a limited customer service. So the second one is a lack of instant gratifications. So when you buy an item, you must wait for it to be shipped to your home or office. However, retailers like Amazon now make the waiting game. Waiting game to akong gipasabot ganiha. Waiting game a little bit less painful by the offering same day delivery as a premium options to select a product. So katong kani one of second disadvantage of e-commerce is a lack of instant gratification. So tinuod man jud kay diba if you are kanang experience man jud tatanan o kanang Shopee, sa Shopee butang na sa Shopee, sa Lazada or sa TikTok shop, like kanang diba 1 week or kanang 5 to 10 days maabot usa ka product na to ma-receive na to ang usa ka item, usa ka product nga atong gi-purchase through website. So mo pud ay naka-disadvantage na to nga within kanang dili na to makuha na to ang product directly ana nga adlaw, which is anak nga adlaw na to na purchase. Pero if you are kanang responsible consumer, dapat makahibaw ka nga kinahanglan na nimo nga adlaw dapat mag-advance po ka o kanang ana nga week. So mag-advance ka nga mag-purchase ana nga product. Kay hibaw naman ka nga sa e-commerce, ang disadvantage ana is lack of instant gratification. So mag-advance ka og kanang purchase sa product aron to meet your expectation nga ana nga adlaw is maabot ang imong product. So maan ra pod kanang masolusyonan ra pod if you are a responsible kanang consumer. So the third one is the inability to touch the product o tinuod. So if sa online dili man nato jud mabaw-an, lami kayo sa pictures. So abi nato og kanang nga picture is lami na siya quality without touching the product. Wata kahibaw nga katude ay sa picture na lami, then nipis da ito. Like we are buying kanang sinina mga t-shirts. Lami kayo sa pictures. And then lami kayog mga kanang diba grabe kayog ilahang mga kanang captions dito nga murag kaning product is nga and then without touching the product dili ta makahibaw nga that product is kanang high quality, nice ya quality ano siya. So mostly natua na mga scam. Ako na scam ko about kanang t-shirt short, which is kanang abi nako og kanang short is kaigo na ho kay same man sa ako large ko, and then large akong gibutang nito pag abot mura ko king koy kinagamayan mura kong nagboxer na. So without touching, without kanang sukod sa mga products, so mo na naka-disadvantage po sa e-commerce. So ikaw be responsible nga pag-purchase sa mga product through online. So inability to touch the product. So mo na siya, di man jud ta maka-touch sa product through online, kay online man, di ba, website man. So the first one is dependence on technology. So if a website crashes or must be temporarily taken down for any reasons, the business is effectively closed until things return to normal. Diba? So dependence, if a website crashes or must be temporarily taken down or reasons, the business is effectively closed until the things is returned to normal. So one of the example ani katong nag-order ko sa Shopee, which is ano tinggal ito, and then abtan og bagyo. So 1 month after before na human jud ang bagyo ana lugay kayo na ship ang ang products nga akong i-purchase through online kay naa may bagyo. Another example, dependence of technology, na yung mga website nga nagka-issue, mga crashes, technology. So mabalik pa dyan na ang imahong na-purchase ato, imahong naan dito, mabalik pa na nga website kung it turns into normal. Maulian na siya. So, muna yung naka-disadvantage, dependence on technology. So, wala mo siya kahibaw if the technology mo shutdown, mo crashes, mag-issue. So, Pero if we are taking we are building ana nga business, dapat ma-mitigate na to ang mga risk, mga potential risk nga mahitabo sa pagtukod og business, aron aware ta na those kanang mga disadvantages if magtukod ana. So fights rapod. So the last one is the greater competitions. Although a low cost of starting an e-commerce business can be an advantage. Di ba? Although a low cost starting an e-commerce business can be advantage. Low cost startup, di ba? Magsugot tag low cost like gamay low cost ra kanang gamay ra ato ang kanang magasto sa pagtukod sa e-commerce business. Pero it also means competitors can just and easily enter the market. So, daghan mga business owners nga makasulod ana. So, it considers as a competitors. So, parehaan ng kanang mga skincare, di ba? Daghan na kayo na sila. Daghan na sila mga competitors. They are selling through digitally, di ba? Electronically, internet, through online shop. So, daghan sila, but kita mga producers dapat lang nato kita lang, pero maglibog na ang mga producers na asa man joy effective. So effective ana nga mga skincare, ana mga sabuna. So dapat nato daghan naman sila competitors, daghan naman sila nga mag-produce ana nga kanang nga product. So maglibog na ang mga consumers. So naka greater competitions mo na siya gitawag o greater competition. Muna siya about now let's move on to another segment, which is the pros and cons. So mo niya gitako lang to ganiha. The pros and cons are also known as the advantage is convenience for consumer often with a greater selection. So example ani katong like for example you are booking a flight at midnight through mga Skyscanner. So it's super convenient, di ba? You are booking mga booking flight tickets mo kanang booking, then through Skyscanner, then it's we call convenience kayo kay through online raman, di ba? So without walk in kadto do nga dito hago-hago ka like we mo ticket then this is convenience kayo. The second one is the potentially low startup cost for operators. Di ba katong giingon niyo nga gamay ra gasto sa pagsugod sa business, but disadvantage niya nagan siya competitors, di ba? So example ana katong like usa ka entrepreneurship nga nag-start siya o kanang starting a shop on Shopify spends much less than the opening a physical stores. Like iyang gitawag siya Shopify, then website niya through online shop, then less na siya o kana ang cost than building mga physical stores, di ba? Of course, mas nice ba ka worldwide pa rin makaan sa iyang products instead of physical stores, which is ang physical stores through community, pero naka-advantage sa physical stores makita sa product, makatouch sa products, maka-explain na sila yung mga unlimited customer services nga ma-explain nato unsay mga features ana nga products, and then broadens reach of business to anywhere they can ship their products. So broaden international sales. So example ani like katong giingon mga Filipino crafter maka on like example Shopee, and then cancel handmade products to buyers to the Europe. That's a broaden international sales nationwide. And then the last one, opportunity to collect valuable consumer data. Katong giingon ninyo, Netflix tailors makahatag ng recommendations about ana nga movie nga ana nga movie nga nice na nga movie na sila recommendation nga kanang nga viewers is makatag na sila og kanang recommendation based on what a viewer watch. So muna siya yung opportunity. Now ang cons, so limited customer service or katong assistance mo tong gingan ganiha. And then ito na like kato lagi katong if you are buying laptops to dapat nimo you can't ask unsay mga features ana. And then buyers must wait to receive a purchase, or you must wait 10 to 15 days or maghuwat pa ka before ma-receive nimo ang usa ka product. Then project can be touched, dili na to mahikam ang usa ka product. It is high quality pa ni siya, nice ba ni siya quality. So kani pros and cons, more recap ra ni sa mga advantages and disadvantages ato, which is nalamat po yung mga meaning, di ba? And then technological glitches can shut down the business, di ba? Katong mga technological, so balik ra dyan ng technology if normal na, mabalik na ang website if normal na ang technology, like magka shutdown ang kanang technology, ang website, magka-crashes, magka-issues. Then, sample po na mga disasters. Muna siya, kanang technological glitches can shut down the business, mga disadvantage. And then, low-cost barriers to entry can also means more competitors. Di ba? Tungod kay low-cost man, then, more competitors ang imong ma-encounter. So, nasabtan ba ang mga disadvantages and disadvantages of e-commerce? Okay, if wala na yung mga kanang, if naamoy mga pangutana, you can pin your feedback below. Okay, then the next slides is the types of e-commerce. So e-commerce companies can operate using these several different business models. So the first one is muna mga business models, types of e-commerce models ni siya. Business to consumer, business to consumer, business to consumer, business to business. Muna sila yung mga types of e-commerce, even though there are kanang 6 types of e-commerce models. So first one is the business to consumers. So dili man tali maklaro sa ang pictures, gi-illustrate na diri nga ang building to consumers. So that was what we called one of the illustrations sa business to consumers. So business to consumer, e-commerce companies sales directly to the product to the end user instead of distributing goods through intermediaries such as another retailers. So kaning business to business, ang companies maka-sales na sila directly to the customers. So one example ani, like you are ordering sneakers to kanang from website nga, that's one of examples of kanang business. Like sa business nga companies, you are ordering like shoes, direct to consumers, di ba? That's a business to consumers. Like company sales directly to consumer. So nasabtan ba ang business to consumers? Ang main point ani, company sales directly to the end user, to the customers. Muna siya ang business to consumers. Okay. Sunod, a business to business. So stated here, similar to business to consumer, an e-commerce business can sell goods to another company. But ang business-to-business transaction often it entail larger quantities, more detailed specifications, and longer lead times. The buyer can also arrange for recurring orders if the purchase is for ongoing manufacturing processes. So what does it mean? So ang business sales to other business. So that's basic explanation about this one. Like business to business. Example ani kanang like for example business to business. Ang example ani like kanay mga companies is nagbaligya na sila og mga flour, mga harina. So asa man ani mo ibaligya? Adto po sa mga company nga mga bikiri. Oh, you are namoy connection sa inyong kamong duha. Business to business, di ba? Di ba ang bikiri nag-business pa na sila, so magluto na sila pan o gamit po og harina, then ikaw business nag-anpog ka og flour. So, i-purchase nimo directly to the business pod. That's one of the examples of business to business. So, nasabtan. Now, let's move on to another slide, which is a business to government. Same, an e-commerce business serve as a government contractors, providing goods or services to government agencies and other entities. Often, this arrangement requires bidding on project, though an established procurement process and can be involved a large quantities of a given item. So, business to government. So, a business makasupply sila products or services to government. So, examples ana like a tech company mag-provide sila mga computers sa mga public schools. That one of the examples sa business to government. Natan ba? Okay. Now, consumer to consumer. So, individuals can sell their things to other individuals on their individual websites or through e-commerce platform that facilitate process. So, example ani a lot includes Craigslist, AB, Etsy, and many more. So, muna siya yung mga consumer to consumers. Like for example, individuals sales to each individual. Like for example, imuhang iPhone. So gusto nimo i-purchase, gusto nimo nga ibaligya through social media, di ba? So imuha man ang iPhone, ibaligya po nimo sa another consumer pod. So consumer ka sa iPhone nga imong ibaligya to consumer pod. Mura kag kana bitaw ikaw na-consume ana, then ana nga product din imo na pong gibaligya sa usa ka consumer. So consumer to consumer. So ato na lang ibutang sa katung-an lagi iPhone, ikaw tag-iya sa iPhone din gusto nimo ibaligya ang iPhone to another consumer. So one of the example ana ang consumer to consumer. Like you are selling mga second hand bang item through mga Facebook marketplace, mga second hand. Consumer to consumer, di ba? So sabtan ba? Sa ganito ang business to consumer. So, business, maka-directly sales to consumers. Business to business. Like, ito ang companies nga maka-sales food sa another companies. And then, business government. So, they are providing mga business to government. Like, they are supply products and services through government. And then, consumer to consumers, individual sales to other individuals. So, like mga second hand, kato, ang giingon. Mga second hand nga through Facebook marketplace. Ayan na. Sorry. And then, consumer to a business. So, consumer to business, some platform allows individual to more easily engage with companies and offer their services, especially related to a short-term contract, gigs, and freelance opportunities. Upwork is one of the examples. So, freelance opportunities is one of the examples ani a consumer to business. Like, they are kanang individuals, they are consumers nga mag-provide sila og services to a company. Di ba? Services. Mura sila nagtrabaho sa usa ka company. And that's the consumer to business. For them to purchase sa ka product, ana. Then, they are like, nilang gitrabahuan. Ano, diba? Like freelancers offering design services through Upwork. Ano siya? One of the example ana. And then consumer to government. So although not an e-commerce relationship in the traditional sense, C to Z is a way for individuals to interact with a government. So consumer can interact to a government. For example, ani uploading your federal tax. Return to the Internal Revenue Services or RRS, website can be considered as an e-commerce transactions as it involves an exchange for informations. Like your taxpayer can also pay what they owe or request a refund for amount they may have overpaid. So muna siya ang consumer to government interactions between individuals and between consumers and the government through online platform. Example ani, you are paying tax on the Bureau of Internal Revenue. Muna BRR websites. Muna siya example sa consumer to government. You are paying tax to government. BR to Bureau, BRR website, di ba? So nasabtan ba ang mga e-commerce models nga nakang lead sa companies to operate using several different business models. Muto siya katong unang kabuok, una business to consumer, business to business, business to government, consumer to business, and consumer to the government. So muto ang types of Now let's move on to the types of e-commerce revenue models. So revenue models katong atong gitakol ganiha is katutong mga types of e-commerce models to siya. Like they have kanang maka-operate sila reuse of mga business models kato. Kani revenue how they kanang models. The first one is the drop shipping. So often considered one of the easiest form of e-commerce. Drop shipping allows a company to create a digital storefront, sell goods, and they rely on a supplier to take it from there. The e-commerce company collects payment from the buyers, after which it passes the order to the drop shippers. This supplier manages inventory, oversees the warehousing of goods, packages the orders, and delivers the product to the purchasers. So masabtan na no. So they are selling of goods through online and they are letting to suppliers to handle mga inventory and shipping. So example ani, like you are a seller on Shopify nga nag-offer sila og kana mga t-shirts, but they are relies on the supplier to fulfill unsay mga orders. So this is one of the example of the iconic examples of drop shipping. So usa ka sellers sa Shopify nga nag-offer sila og t-shirts, and then but relies on the supplier to fulfill orders. So sabtan ba ang drop shipping? Sabtan naman kay it's what updated ari nga iyang statements is simplified na kayo. And then ang white labeling. In white label is a commerce that the seller doesn't manufacture the product but buys an existing product from the manufacturer or another suppliers and repackages it under its own brand for resale to ultimate consumers. So kana ang white labeling, ilang repacking ang mga existing nga products under sa ilahang brand. Like for example, sa usa ka skincare company, nag-reselling sila generic lotions with its own label. Like for example, na sila kanang usa ka kanang to put into situation na lang, na usa ka kanang skincare or CEO nga nag-purchase nga product, and then ikaw nag-purchase po ka, so imong gi-purchase tong iyang product, then imong gialisdan sa imong label, sa imong brand na label to purchase po. So dili to imong nga dili jud kamoy nag-manufacture adto, which is nag-repacking ra mo adto nga product, and then inyong gi-change into inyong brand aron inyong brand. That's form of a white labeling. So kaning private labeling is similar to white labeling pod. So private labeling involves selling a product made by another manufacturer. So in private labeling, however, the sellers may have more control over the actual product. They have power to control sa actual product, such as having it made to particular specifications. Store brands are an example of a private labeling. So mga store brand is one of the example of private labeling. So like example, ang private labeling is, di ba, similar na siya sa white labeling, but nag-customize na siya sa product. That's like customizations in the products nga gitawag. Like for example, a brand like Kagayako having a product specially made by other na siya kanang brand nga product which is especially made by other manufacturers. So napod sila brand nga nag-manufacture po sila pero gigama po sa other manufacturers, di ba? And that's a private labeling. Wholesaling is wholesaler serves the buyer of a large number of a particular item or many smaller buyers of that item. Di ba? Wholesaling. Bulto-bulto ay mga pag-purchase if you are a buyer. A more capital-intensive approach to e-commerce, wholesaling can entail maintaining and warehousing significant quantities in inventory. So wholesaling, you are selling item in bulk, often to bulk, like you are selling an item kanang bulto, often to other businesses. So that's what we call wholesaling. So one of the example you are wholesaling a grocery through website to supply sa mga 100, like for example 100 cans of soap to a supermarket, like you are wholesaling grocery through website or maka offer ka to other businesses. That's what we call wholesaling. So subscriptions. The last one is the subscriptions. E-commerce companies can also leverage repeat orders or loyal companies o mga repeat kanang customers by implementing subscription services. So the consumer places an order once and receive their goods at fixed cadence, such as very month. Common subscription is e-commerce product include meal prep services, mga pet foods, mga fashion boxes, and health and grooming products. So kanang subscriptions, usa ka customers maka-receive na siya og product like monthly or weekly. For example like sa Netflix, you are kanang sa Netflix na siya monthly subscriptions, di ba? Or kanang di ba gitawag siya og subscriptions box for beauty products, like na siya mga subscription. So let me read some examples about this. So kanang subscription is kanang a regular payment for access ka og services, like kanang nakay regular payment to access services, diba? Muna siya gitawag og subscriptions. Another examples of subscriptions was up to date in order to watch the videos. So you're in order sa Netflix, you need to know in order to watch the videos, you need to sa subscriptions you need to encounter in order to watch the videos. So dapat subscribe ka. That's it. Anyway, we have what's an e-commerce website. So e-commerce website is any site that allows you to buy and sell products. What as an e-commerce website? Muna siya. E-commerce website is any site that allows you to buy and sell products and services through internet, through online. So companies like Amazon and Alibaba are example of a huge e-commerce business. So muna siya ang e-commerce business. So how do you start an e-commerce business? The first one is first figure out the kinds of products. You need to figure out sa mga products that you want to or services that you want to sell, and research the market target audience mo, sa mga target audience mo. Competitions, you need to mitigate those competitions and expected cost to see how viable that might be. That's the first thing that you can do when you are building a e-commerce business. The second one is next, you come up with a name. You need to choose your business name, your business structures, and get the necessary documentations. You need to know mga taxpayers, numbers, licenses, and permits if they apply. So, ano siya. Then, before you start selling, decide on a platform. You need to decide what platform that you are going to kanang promote, to pahiba, o to kanang to inform everyone, and design your website or someone to do it for you. So naka website or you are balik ka website using website. And then remember to keep everything simple at the beginning and make sure you use as many channels as you can to make your business so it can grow. So muna siya ang how you start your e-commerce business. So nasabtan ba ang mga what is e-commerce, what is the history of e-commerce, advantages of e-commerce, what are the types of e-commerce models, what are the types of e-commerce revenue models, what is e-commerce website, what is how do you start an e-commerce business. So if naamoy mga pagkatan regarding this topic, you can drop your comments down below so that I can know and I can simplify about your confusionism. So that's all. Thank you for listening.